Hey, welcome back to Picton's Northern Star, the Floating Circus, episode 31. This episode we deal with a few little jobs. We start to deal with my softwood, try and sort that out. Well, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. And we live in perpetual optimism that the mechanical work is going to be done on the old girl so that we can carry on with this journey. Anyhow, click like, subscribe, share. Not that it does anything for me, but it helps with the old algorithm apparently, and other people can see my content. I've included some old footage. You can hear Northern Star's great heart beating strongly. This just reminds me of why I'm on this journey, and it fills me with optimism and hope that we're going to get back there. So I just come down there and there's a few seals in the marina and some gannets diving. Must be a pile of bait fishing. Yep, I better get in here and get the boat shut up. Yeah, you have to forgive me, I'm still a little bit breathless from my bout of COVID. Getting there slowly, it's just sort of, there's probably a lot of you probably experienced with it. It's just settled in the chest and it's just this ongoing sort of nagging cough. Muscle tightness and all that sort of drama, but you've probably all experienced it. Anyhow, well, thanks to everybody for your feedback on the last episode. One of the chaps suggested check the tops of the tanks for a leak. They had an issue where they had a hole in the top of the tank, fresh water coming in over time filled the tank up. I've had a look, I don't think that that's a problem. Starboard tank was generally the same as the port tank. Port tanks increased, starboard tanks dropped, and I've just been down after we've probably had another 36 plus hours of very, very heavy torrential rain here at the top of the south, which yesterday I was down taking. I took probably about 30 litres, 35 to 30 litres of fresh water out of the bilge and got rid of it. And yeah, the level in the port tank hasn't increased at all, so I don't think that's a problem, but a good idea, and it is something that I'll keep an eye on because they are old tanks and the top of them probably aren't in the best condition. They really need to be cleaned down and probably rust killed as well. There's a lot of crud, probably 50 years worth of crud sitting on top of them, and there has been a little bit of moisture coming down that way over time. Someone suggested have a look at Joe McCall, the Irish chap. He's got a YouTube channel where he specialises, he's an expert in Gardner engines. I have actually seen that. I watched a couple of his episodes, but I might actually go back and watch them from start to finish, just to learn as much as I can. And yeah, we'll see where we go from there. Someone else suggested that maybe even a normal mechanic could probably do the job in the engine of the gearbox. Certainly something that I'm seriously considering. It seems to me you wait forever for them to get a hold of your diesel engineer to get them down to sort stuff out, and it just never seems to happen. So yeah, that's certainly another option. Someone said have a look at the rails, fuel line rails. I think they were corded across the top. Take the covers off. that'll certainly be something. I certainly intend to actually start doing a bit of research and looking at some stuff to try and do as much of the work to the engine and learn about it as much as I can, so that I'm not so reliant on other people. Yeah, you have to forgive me, I'm still a little bit breathless. My bout of COVID. Getting there slowly. It's just sort of there's probably a lot of you probably experienced with it. It's just settled in the chest, and it's just this ongoing sort of nagging cough, muscle tightness, and all that sort of drama. But you've probably all experienced it. Anyhow, well, thanks to everybody for your feedback on the last episode. One of the chaps suggested check the tops of the tanks for a leak. They had an issue where they had a hole in the top of the tank, fresh water coming in over time filled the tank up. I've had a look. I don't think that that's a problem. Starboard tank was generally the same as the port tank. Port tanks increased, starboard tanks dropped, and I've just been down after we've probably had another 36 plus hours of very, very heavy torrential rain here at the top of the south, which yesterday I was down taking. I took probably about 30 litres, 35 to 30 litres of fresh water out of the bilge and got rid of it. And yeah, the level in the port tank hasn't increased at all, so I don't think that's a problem, but a good idea, and it is something that I'll keep an eye on, because they are old tanks and the top of them probably aren't in the best condition. They really need to be cleaned down and probably rust killed as well. There's a lot of crud, probably 50 years worth of crud sitting on top of them, and there has been a little bit of moisture coming down that way over time. Someone suggested have a look at Joe McCall, the Irish chap. He's got a YouTube channel where he specialises. He's an expert in Gardner engines. I have actually seen that. I watched a couple of his episodes, but I might actually go back and watch them from start to finish, just to learn as much as I can. And yeah, we'll see where we go from there. Someone else suggested that maybe even a normal mechanic could probably do the job in the engine of the gearbox. Certainly something that I'm seriously considering. It seems to me you wait forever for them to get a hold of your diesel engineer to get them down to sort stuff out, and it just never seems to happen. So yeah, that's certainly another option. Someone said have a look at the rails, fuel line rails. I think they were cored across the top. Take the covers off. That'll certainly be something. I certainly intend to actually start doing a bit of research and looking at some stuff to try and do as much of the work to the engine and learn about it as much as I can, so that I'm not so reliant on other people. Well, interesting enough, I did have a little bit of a win. It's a near new Raycor 900 or 500 MA fuel filter. Looks as though it's more or less identical in water separator, identical to what was installed, plus two filters. The fittings, on the end, each end there. Knowing how much my one cost me, was close to $900. Bought this one locally off a local Facebook page for $295 for that, two filters and those two extra fittings there. And there is my one there. I'm pretty sure it's identical. It also looks as though it's a 500 MA diesel filter and water separator. So yeah, the reflectorized crap in the bottom of that dish and up there. Now one of the neighbours coming in. And coming in beside us there. Right, the relevance of the second filter is I also had a comment from somebody about should be a filter on every tank, both tanks. This is exactly the same as what I've purchased, and these retail for $900 plus, so that will give me an opportunity to have one on every tank, one for each tank. So I just need to probably get it joined in. Right, something like that. It's sort of the external or internal sheet is rotted there. So what we're going to do, yep, the right way, I'm going to take that out and I might save the screw though. And what we're going to do is just peel this back. Again, as somebody said, what happened is this stuff here is it's quite solid around there. It's holding the water in behind it and causing rot, so it's not the best to be using. I'm going to just scratch all this back, give this a chance to actually dry out as well. Just see it's pretty spongy all up under there. So water's got in there and it's spread. And I'll clean up the paint. And you can see there's been a fracture in the paint, water's got in and it's ended up causing a problem. It's quite well stuck there. You know, people screw into these and don't do stuff right. Scrape all of this rotten wood out of there. So you can see how wet it is. Would go through. There we are, and it is through there. There was a So as you can see there, has gone all the way through there. And probably my best plan here, once it's dried out, I think will be to cut and put an insert in. In fact, it actually looks as though there's been one installed previously, possibly. It almost looks like a join there, but certainly probably need to actually just cut this right out. Part of and install a new internal piece, then see where we're at with the external piece there. So what I might do, I'm going to clean this mess up now, and I may just go and get some tape and plastic and cover that up, or I may just actually pay to leave it uncovered for a bit. Can't be any worse. Let it dry out a little bit if we don't get any rain. If we are going to get some rain, I'll come down and cover it up, or if we do have some. But it simply can't be any worse than what it was, slowly rotting away under there. Because if I cover it up with plastic, it's just going to sweat. It's going to be just the same as having the paint on top of it. And we've got this sort of similar issue here, the working side of the boat. It's nowhere near as bad, but it's going to get there if it's left. So I might just peel that off there and let that dry out as well. And then we have internal piece that'll need to be replaced. So another job that'll need to be done. So it was one of the viewers said, don't use two-pot because it creates a skin and membrane that retains the moisture, and there's an example why. So that'll have to be completely replaced, that internal piece there, and we'll just scrape that out of there, leave that to dry. There's another bit in there. Just starting to get away. Really interesting, the blemishes in the paint just here. I thought that it was rot, but it's not. Either something was mixed with the paint, or there was some treatment with some fiberglass or resin or similar that has caused this stippling effect. Whatever it was rock hard. No idea where my half brush and shovel is. It's a board here somewhere, but if you think I can find it, it's like that correct ring spanner one you can never find when you need it and you know it was there the day before. So I've decided I'm going to, areas like that I'm actually going to open up, dry them out, and probably insert new ply. That's the side, and then anything smaller such as a hole that goes through there, I'll fill it from the other side and grind it back with some fiberglass and sawdust. For that there, particularly if I trim it down and across with one of those little, I don't know what you call them, they're little flat multi-saw, or what do you call a multi-tool. I should be able to get that out quite nicely. But better to leave it open, I think, and let it air. Then water drain out of there. Oh there, it's opened up, so certainly I think it might be time to start considering doing some woodworking while I'm waiting for the stuff to happen. An interesting observation is the rot on that side, hook side on the rail or the gunnel extends to where it was replaced previously. The original timber seems to be absolutely fine. So we have another seal here. Oh look, there he is, he's back. Pretty cool, right in there. Let's go see what Mr. Seal's up to. There he is. Well, I was just wondering whether I should take these other rod holders off, but they actually haven't let any water in. The timber is solid around all the screws, so the reality is I'm probably better off leaving the screws and everything in place at the moment, rather than creating a cavity for more water to get into. So yeah, so how well those were screwed on, certainly there's been some damage there, and again you see where it's been previously replaced here, all the way down to there. So I need to actually measure that to make sure I've got some lengths long enough to do this inside bit. And of course the issue is too 25mm, 25mm, 25mm and a thinner internal piece. The timber I got was 100 by 25. It's rough sawn. Problem is by the time I plane it flat to give better contact, it's going to be under 25mm, so I'm going to need to cut the wood and then laminate in some thinner strips. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It'll be a bit easier to laminate, and just means I'm going to have some extra gluing and clamping to do. It's not a major, I'm not overly concerned about that. down to the boat a couple of nights later. Apparently it's haul out season or mating season. They're in the marina, they're hauling out close on the pontoons, they're in close. Anyhow, you'll see one shortly that was on the pontoon nearby to Northern Star. I didn't get too close, not allowed to, rules are rules, because all the wokies and the greenies, they put in place these rules, don't do this, can't approach within so many metres, blah blah blah, because they all believe that we're totally bereft of common sense when it comes to wildlife and need to be told how to live our lives. Anyhow, I'm a rule-abiding person, so I didn't get too close, but I wouldn't anyway, because the reality is common sense says I would scare it and be back into the water. So I hope you can see it and enjoy the brief footage. Off the back of the boat, doing whatever it is that seals do. I believe it's haul out season according to the email from the marina. They haul out, they're obviously mating. They haul out onto the backs of people's boats and the pontoons and the berths, and the rules around not approaching them, etc., leaving them be, and what people can do to try to keep them off their boats. You'll see there's one there down the end there having a bit of a sleep. I won't go any closer than what I did before to look at it. Just simply it'll disturb it, and also it's having a wonderful sleep over there. So just been down 35 litres of water out of the boat after the heavy rain. Right, I know there's a fair bit of water coming in through above the door. It's ending up in here, this rather poorly constructed shower and head area. It's not sealed. You can see the water, I hope, maybe sitting there. It's not sealed around the plug hole, it's not sealed around the pipe that comes through, and it's not sealed around the base of the head. So there's quite a bit dripping in that way as well. Well, box arrived today from Australia. You may recall I was talking about the bilge filter, and this is it. So we're going to unbox it. You're seeing it as I'm seeing it for the first time. Well, quite well packed. The super size bubble wrap cushiony thingies. Right, Tides Marine Wave Stream. So that's it there. So preserving marine life. Right, so there it is there. It's pretty much like a cartridge information, replacement cartridges. Yeah, there would have to wonder, to be honest, whether other cartridges would fit that, or it's got to be specialist. And we have, obviously, to undo it, the mounting bracket, stainless steel mounting bracket, obviously some something to rub around the seal so that it seals properly, like grease, seal grease or lubricant, and the bits for the screws for the bracket. So we have it there. Let's open up and have bugger it. Let's open it up and have a look at the cartridge. Right, now there's the seal. It's got a bit of grease around that. Yeah, this is the cartridge. Apparently it's going to pick up X amount of its own weight in oil. Lasts about 12 months under normal usage. So what I'm actually hoping is that between the trays, drip trays that I'm going to put underneath the areas where I think there is a little bit of drip or a little bit of seepage, the mats, that's going to stop it getting into the bilge or the bilge water. That will lower the contamination levels in the bilge, which will make the filters last for the season, and we'll see what happens from there. I did go down last night, as you'll see, and I took some water out of the bilge. Well, I might have talked about taking about 30 odd litres of water out of the bilge. I did turn the bilge pump on very briefly, and I saw that there was still a sheen of oil residue or diesel in the water, so I certainly didn't want to pump that over. So it's potentially just what's in the bilge and what has leaked or coming out of the wood. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Picton's Northern Star, the floating circus. You'll see the arrival of the anti-pollution gear for the bilge. I'll do an episode on installing that, and have decided that what I'll probably do is stick some oil into a bucket and we'll see whether this thing actually works. I'm sure you're all probably wondering the same thing. Is this going to be a good thing, or is it a gimmick? If it's a gimmick, it's going to be a very expensive one. Given the cost to purchase and import it was actually at around $650 with the exchange rate and freight and the purchase of the actual product. Anyhow, we'll keep you posted, and we'll try and get all of that sorted for the next episode. An update from the engineer: they're going to get down and do the adjustment hopefully next week, and they're also going to take a sample of oil and send that away for testing to see if there is diesel in it and see whether the engine is making oil and whether there is a problem with the injectors or the lines leaking oil into the crankcase. I hope not, but I need to find out. I've had some good advice, and thank you for all the comments about this and the other comments that I've received. I take it all on board. It's a good learning curve for me, and it's really, really appreciated. I'm feeling a lot more upbeat about things currently. I'm more or less over my dose of COVID or whatever the hell it was. I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling a lot more optimistic and looking forward to the future and getting to some of these jobs and getting things sorted. So as usual, please click like, subscribe, share. Helps with the old algorithm fiasco so that other people see my content. And I hope you enjoy it. Get out there and do it before it does it to you.